Autopilot engaged.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Echoes of New Eden. I am Taylor Rick. With me is Rosalind. We do not have Rambo this week. Rambo's got some stuff going on. He's moving. His birthday was yesterday. So we're going to give Rambo all kinds of shit about how he mispronounces things. I think he does it on purpose, but he really plays it off well, Rosalind.
He really does. I mean, he's quite a corrector.
Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Rambo, Rambo, Ramba, Rambo, I don't know. But he can never pronounce Terran. He always says Terran or T-Ran, but it's Terran. And that is our first big announcement tonight. I've got a little audio clip here to play from our good old friends at Terran Federation. Here we go.
16 months ago, our beloved Federation was shattered. Not from the bug menace chittering throughout the stars of Fountain, but from ourselves. In that time when cooler heads should have prevailed, they instead fanned the flames of self-immolation, scattering our citizens to the most ambitious alliances in New Eden. And with their newfound strength, many of those alliances wielded our citizens, diamonds forged under the relentless pressure of the bug menace, to eradicate each other. And from this arose an underground network of stalwart citizens who once again yearned of the days of old. Events were put into motion, stages were set, and the whispers of the return of our glorious Federation were used to distract the brain bugs in Delve, while many of our former troopers spearheaded the assaults, burning their hives around them, until likewise, they collapsed from the same internal pressure that fermented amongst our commanders in Fountain. Today, troopers and citizens of our beloved Terran race, we return. This is an all-points bulletin to any and all troopers logged out, patiently waiting to engage the largest login trap in the history of New Eden. The time is now. Install the latest update, dust off your Vexler Navy issue, and join us as we sweep our ancestral home of latent nests, hives, and colonies. If the first Fountain Wars were considered the golden age of New Eden, then let this be our renaissance. Come on, apes. Do you want to live forever?
Do your part. Join a Terran Federation corporation today and become a citizen. Service guarantees citizenship.
That's a great ad. That's a great ad to come right out of the blue. I mean, what did you call it when you listened to it the first time, Rosalind?
I love it. This is like the best pre-war declaration I've ever heard.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with where they dropped their first SOV, which, if you didn't know, is all the way down in the middle of GenFed space. So, welcome. Welcome back, Terran Federation. Boom. So, all right. So, as we move in, we got a huge show for you tonight. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to cover. Obviously, everybody has read the patch notes for the April balance update from last week like a million times over at this point. So we are going to cover those, but we're going to cover them a little differently. We're going to talk about some thoughts, some strategies, some tips, some tricks, how you're going to actually use some of these patch notes to your advantage, to your disadvantage, opponent-wise or not. How it's going to change doctrine for people, all that kind of stuff. No, Jeopardy's not tonight's snack, so I'll get into that in a minute. So I do have an outline, though, that Rambo left me because he doesn't trust me to just do whatever. So he's gave me this nice outline here. I got this paper right here in my hand. He's perfect. I mean, he faxed it to me. It's handwritten. It's beautiful. He spent time on it, and now I'm not going to use any of it. There it goes. Goodbye. So
Drop that in the circular file.
Yeah, we're just going to make sure that nobody knows about that. Here we go. So first things first, we are going to go right into some of these dumb Q&A questions. You know me. I hate these Q&A questions. Every single time they're stupid. So here's a couple of more stupid ones. First one, after building a ship, these are both from last week, by the way. So after building a ship, will we ever be able to scroll down on the ship's info page and see the builder of the ship, kind of like a signature of a painting? You know, they said at some point that they would do this, that if a corporation built a ship, that they would put that corporation's tag onto that ship. I recall them saying that, And of course, now NetEase's Pollen says, thank you very much for your suggestion, but we wouldn't consider adding this to our development plan for now. So they've nixed that completely. Not that this was something everybody was asking for, but it would have been cool, NetEase. It would have been cool.
It would have been cool. I think this is probably more a technical issue rather than a flavor or design driven direction.
Yeah.
I mean, stackable things like ships, don't lend themselves very well to have each individual item inside that stack have a different
skin. Technically, yeah. It would basically be like applying a skin, which why couldn't we just have a skin for each corporation, and all that skin is translucent, but with your corporation logo on it somewhere.
Corporation skins have got to become a thing eventually.
They do.
I believe this is one of the rewards from one of the recent events.
Yeah, a couple of the events have custom skins that you designed. That like the first one they did that with the Inscription of the Galaxy thing for the SOV contest. They still haven't awarded any of those yet, and they haven't even reached out to the main corporation who won that event, GRA, who has still heard nothing from NetEase about it. So
we'll see.
We will see, but I mean, there's ways they could probably do it, but right now, not in the cards. Too bad. Next question. I think faction battleships need more range of electronic modules. For example, Vindicator needs more long web and warp disruptor. Barghest needs more long scram disruptor. It is impossible that frigate, cruisers, battleships have same range of electronic modules. Yeah, okay. Have you not flown a Vindy? I don't... Okay. Wilson comes back and says, we wouldn't increase the range for Vindicator and Barghest because we don't want to see battleships being that powerful. It would be very frustrating if frigates have no resistance against Vindicator and Barghest. Actually, what the fuck are we talking about? If these people just, not only have this person never flown a Vindicator, Wilson has never flown one either. See, this is what I mean by stupid questions. You understand what I'm getting at? I mean, this is just...
I feel like this is somebody asking a question that works at IGN Gaming News website. And it's just Googling Eve Echoes. I should ask about this ship. Throw in some words.
Yeah, I mean, a Vindicator is a very, very powerful faction battle cruiser, and it's about to get even more powerful because they're nerfing the damn thing. So, I don't know. I think railguns, large railguns, are going to wind up becoming doctrine somewhere, whether it's a Rook or a Vindy or what, but we'll get into that. All right, so third stupid question of the week. Are there plans to increase corporation and alliance sizes? Here's a good question. This is actually a good question. Because in my mind, they do need to increase the corporation sizes, and they do need to increase the number of corporations in an alliance. It is like hell having 3 or 4 alliances right next to one another that are all in a larger coalition or federation, and they can't talk to one another in alliance chat.
Absolutely.
It's just hell. But, of course... we know what NetEase's answer is going to be. The sizes of alliance and corporations are set through data analysis of both PC and mobile games. Thus, there is no plan to modify them in the short term. So, which means ever. That's what that means.
I think they've set an idea based on an arbitrary number, and that answer just sounds like, our design guy doesn't want to answer this.
Yeah. I want to see them see this is what make the Q&A fun, is if they did it while they're drunk, right? And they just answer with shit posts.
They're already doing that.
maybe that's why the answers are what they are. I see Lynn would ask me, what's my current what is your opinion on the server war? If you mean the actual like war, then yeah, we're getting into that. I don't know what you mean by server war. If you mean like meme war, I don't know what you mean. Please clarify, Linwood. Okay, final question. This is a good question, too. So I guess there's actually 2 out of 4 questions that aren't total shit. Carrier and Dreadnoughts have been out since November. Only 1 event for their nanocores since then. Will you be introducing any new nanocores of these ships in Concord store or future events, preferably through Concord so it's accessible to all players? Yes, don't put it in the goddamn scholar points. I'll just fucking shoot somebody. And the answer from Mike Lee is, as you mentioned, it has been too long since we had something like the Neon Raid event. We will release a new series of Capital Nanocores in the near future. Stay tuned. Excellent answer. Excellent answer. So we're getting Capital Nanocores that everybody can have coming soon. So that's fantastic. I cannot wait. That is going to be That's gonna be slick.
Something to get those colors going. I've seen some really great schemes out there. I think I saw a Chimera with all kinds of flashing lights going on the top. I mean, if you're gonna fly a capital, it better look badass.
Yeah, so I've got a capital, I've got a carrier, and it's the best looking when you put that neon rain core on it. I wish I had the neon rain core for the carrier, for the Nidhogger. I mean, oh my God, that's sexy. That is sexy because the equalizer stuff is on the flat part of the roof, you know, and now the thing doesn't look like a rusted roof anymore. Now it looks like the roof of a rave. It's just fantastic.
Love it.
I love it. Yeah, I want that so bad. You can't trade those, and I think that's the next thing they really need to do, since they're going to get to a point here come what, the Grimace core for the Phantasm was excellent. When they get to, what is it, May, when the first Concorde nano cores came out, was May of last year? Isn't that right?
I want to say about a year, yeah.
Yeah, so we're almost at a year. So guess what that means? That means all the nanocores they put out before, are they going to recycle those? Or are we just going to get new nanocores every Concorde past from now until infinite that are almost all the same?
That sounds like a lot of art design and whatnot.
Yeah.
Maybe just release some of the old ones.
Yeah, exactly. Just recycle. Just rotate and recycle. And that would be great. I'm all for that. But, you know, please give me the capital ones. I want those real bad. I want the Neon Rain capital like yesterday. So... okay, that was it on those. Then we've got, I got to go pull it up real quick. Sorry. There is a player run event that's going to happen. That's going to start on April 10th. This is sponsored by OG, and it is on the test server. So this kind of gets into a little bit of our balance patch stuff that we're going to be discussing tonight. But we do have that test server going to happen. I think it opens on the 9th, right? So that's what, Saturday? Yeah.
Coming up real quick.
Coming up real quick. So, in PM Blue, if you're in the audience, tell us, does that mean your kill mail thing's going down for the duration of the test server being up, since you can't tell the difference between the two when you're trying to parse them from the images? Someone's got to answer that for me. Maybe ping PM Blue and see if you can come answer that real quick.
Right. PM Blue, get in here. That does sound like the easiest way.
Yeah, I think so.
Keep that class. These people aren't throwing... 35 million, rigs in their hull, blowing it up and sticking it on the kill mails.
35 million?
Or throwing all your rigs in your cargo hold. What was it people were doing where they were buying billion-esque rigs?
You're going to hold them ransom for $1 million. That's funny. I know what you mean. I don't know how he's going to handle that, so I think that he should probably take that offline, but we'll see. So that's one of the player run events coming up. And then, of course, we had patch notes this week as well. I think these are actually put into the announcements over on Eve Echo's Discord, which is freaking stupid. You've got a channel called Patch Notes. Let's put our patch notes in the announcements. My God, guys. I mean, maybe they don't. I don't know. Maybe they don't know what those words mean in English. So in this last update, this is the start of Season 8 for Concorde. We do have the Inscription of the Galaxy stuff still going, and this is a building event that's been going on for a while now. I think the person in the lead was either Hit, which is in No Please Stop, or Hell to Pay Citadel. I think it's Hell to Pay, and then Legion that's in Silent. Those two seem to be going back and forth for number 1, number 2 spot here in the last few days. I didn't look at it as of 2 hours ago when I was in the game. But that's been kind of interesting to see $100 billion in build fees. If you don't know about this event for the building, it is not how much you've built in terms of what the estimated value of the minerals and PI and the ship or structures are worth. It is just the button pushes. So to have $100 billion, 2 corporations almost at $100 billion in button pushes in a week and a half, 2 weeks is just insane. So
that is a lot of button pushes. I do love these competitions they're doing.
Yeah.
It's something new every so often for us to really have something to wag in each other's face and say, hey, look, we're at the top.
Right. And this one being involved in Indy is kind of nice from the standpoint, and they're doing it before the big Indy balance patch or update anyway in May, which is good. But yeah, I mean, being focused on India, if you haven't been paying attention to minerals and PI ore prices and all of that on the industrial market in the last, 2 weeks, you'd be surprised. PI prices have doubled since the start of since middle of February to now. In 2 months, PI prices have almost all doubled, and mostly on ship PI, not on structure PI. Gee, I wonder why. It's this little thing called capitals. I remember when capitals came out, everybody just got so pissed off about the capitals and the cost and how hard it is, and it's just impossible. And I know it's expensive. It's extremely expensive. I mean, $150 million per blueprint, $150 million per button push. I mean, or whatever it is. It's almost $300 million just to make one damn part. So it's extremely expensive, but people are doing it, and it is causing an uptick in prices. And in my area where I'm at up north, it is definitely causing everybody's inventory to get totally stripped. It is definitely you better mind your ass off kind of moment. So those Royals coming in May can't come soon enough. Are you seeing the same kind of thing over in your neck of the woods as far as mineral prices go? Because I think it's different all around the map.
I am. So we've got a buyback program in my particular alliance, and these prices typically follow what happens on a market. And I finally got back into building, and I said I'm going to build me a couple of frigates. And I go to buy some minerals, turn them into some ships, go to JITA, and find that I'm actually losing money because the prices of these subcap ships are not really keeping up with the price of the materials.
Yeah.
It's not even worth buying the materials from my alliance anymore because I'm maybe going to make 2%. Doesn't even cover the cost of the taxes.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see if things change. I think when updates come out, balance changes happen, different types of ships become meta and such. I think the prices are going to start stabilizing a little more.
Yep.
Who knows? Maybe the auger will be a thing. All kinds of stuff's going to happen. I'm actually going to sit on these minerals, and why bother building today's hotness if tomorrow it could be wildly different? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I got some thoughts about that. We'll get into that when we talk about this balance patch, but I got some thoughts about that. So
for sure.
And then they did a couple of little nice optimizations this last week and a couple of bug fixes. So most of the optimizations they did, and I'm just going to skip the added a report function because it's everywhere you go there's a report function. Please quit. What the fuck? I just stop. I don't know. But they did.
Do they want us to abuse this?
I guess so, yeah. They did add some nice things for fleets. Automatic sharing of combat log to the fleet channel in settings. That's nice. Added fleet orbiting, fleet approach me, fleet orbit me. I mean, these are great. Where was the fleet approach me for our Guardian guys 7 months ago, 8 months ago, last year? So that's kind of nice.
Really great ideas. I think we were testing it, I want to say this morning or yesterday morning in one of test fleets we were running, and found that unless you've got the appropriate roles in the fleet, others are not going to see your approach me command, which is a little sus there. Like, they've almost got this. I think a few bug fixes, maybe give it a month, they'll have this approach me and orbit me stuff set up solid. They're just 99% there right now.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, they did say this was going to be the year of quality of life updates, and so far they haven't really disappointed. I mean, they've been doing a little weird things here and there with splendid coupons and all that shit, but there's been nice additions. Every other week when they do an update, there's been some little thing, and of course there's always been a hidden little feature that they don't even list in these notes, but add it. This week's feature that they added and didn't put it in the patch notes is your inability to authenticate and log in for a whole day. So that was a nice feature as well.
That's a great feature. Well, hey, I think I got, what is it, 80,000 skill points or something?
Yeah.
One of my guys in my corp was like, oh, suddenly I can get all of my frigate skills done in one day. Hey, why not?
Okay. What, level 1 skill? I don't know. Like what? 80,000. That's like 4 hours on something. That takes, I got like 62 days on one skill in my queue right now. It's making me want to puke. Okay, so then there's tapping on a contact, and the contact list now redirects you to private chat with the contact. That doesn't quite work the way they made it sound, and what happens now is when you have that little purple thing come up saying there's a new DM, you tap on that, and it brings it up in the normal chat window where you would see like your alliance chat, your corp chat, and all of that. Now you see your private chats with whoever you were in private chat with, but it doesn't always go directly to the person who just messaged you. You have to go tap on them on the side to see it. And it's just it's a little clunky. Take that back. Just undo that one. Undo that optimization.
I think they're going to get there. I think this is another one of those things where it's 99% ready. I do like that it's coming up automatically in a regular style chat window. Hopefully soon this can incorporate the automatic translate button, which I think previously we didn't have it in that weird, chat with one person window. So if they can get some of that stuff streamlined where they're using the same, back-end code modules to give us the same features in one part of the game that should be identical to another, and get that stuff streamlined. I think they're making the right directions. I mean, this is the stuff we were asking for.
It is.
I mean,
it's
not
true.
exactly this, but
well, we've all been asking
for this.
We've all, I don't know who was asking for this, but I mean, we've all been asking for things to flow a little better, and all these QoL things that we wanted. So and if it's something that they can do that's quick and easy, and they can just add it in and go without having to be part of some bigger patch, then they should do it. And this is hopefully one of those things that they just kind of tweak and make better, because right now that part sucks.
For sure.
So then they said some mid-slot modules that are currently unavailable in the market have been hidden. I wish you would do that with skins that you can't use on ships that aren't in the game. I wish they would do that on Tech 4 rigs that aren't in the game, but okay. They're getting there.
They're getting there. They're setting themselves a precedent for success.
Ever the optimist. Maybe. There you go.
Yeah.
This one I don't know about. Added a hide UI feature. Players can find it by tapping the gear button to the right of chat messages. I have no idea what that means. Does that mean the entire user interface goes away?
I've been trying to figure that one out myself. But
God, I hope that's what that means, because talk about a great screenshot. Because the camera thing sucks. I mean, it doesn't, but it puts the QR code in. I don't want anything. I just want a picture of just what's on the screen. I don't want all the other shit. But I can't get that to work.
It's working so far. It just feels like this one is a miss for me, because they've got that screenshot button that allows you to hide all kinds of stuff. But why also have a picture like this that maybe allows us to take screenshots? Like, now we're encouraging users to take screenshots in two different ways. I guess just seems a bit non-optimized.
Yeah, just
two different ways.
Yeah, exactly. I don't get it. And I don't know why you'd want a QR code to share with somebody for them to pull up your information, I guess. I've never used that before, so someone tell me what that's for. And then, by the way, when I'm reading these patch notes like this, guys, and I'm going through this big balance patch thing, I won't be able to see necessarily on-air chat. So if someone asks me a question, Rosalind, maybe if you're looking there while I'm reading some of these, that would help, so that I know, because I can't look at both places at the same time. Apologies.
I am seeing Sanchez saying that there's a resolution change when you're using the screenshot button, and you're cropping garbage out of your screenshot. So maybe that is a good feature for this.
Huh. Okay. They did do a quick little buff. The basic salvaging range of all salvagers has been increased by 2.5 kilometers. I don't know if that really makes a freaking difference at all, but okay.
I've never seen anybody using salvagers. Do you use one?
I don't have one, because all of my tunes had splinted coupons of 29,925, and I just said fuck it to get to the 30,000 to get one. So
shafted again.
I didn't even spend any of them. So whenever those things come back around, I will be sitting on 29,925. Because I know they will. They lie. Those things will come around, and when they do, they'll still be there, and you'll have them, and off you go. It'll be funny. That leads me to a good question, though. How many currencies are there in this game? That is going to be a Jeopardy question at some point, I'm sure.
That's a great Jeopardy question, because I wouldn't even know where to look. I can't even cheat on this one.
No, it's tough.
There's so many currencies.
Then they improved the calculation method of capacitor stability on the fittings page. The results are now more accurate. Instead of being accurate, they're just more accurate. I don't know. I don't even pay attention to that.
I didn't even know my capacitor stability was inaccurate.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even look at that. But I mean, if I'm going to really do fittings and test things out and play with it, I do it in the Suite app. I don't even do it over I just slap it together when I'm ready to go in the fittings in the game. But If I'm playing with things, I do that over on the Sweet app. If you're not using Sweet app, SWEET app, iOS, I don't know if it's on Android. I'm pretty sure it's just iOS. There's a Discord channel for it too. That is an excellent app. If you're not using it, then you're wasting time and money trying to screw around with fittings in the game. It's much better. It'll do integrated rigs the whole 9 yards, cores the whole 9 yards. The guy that develops that's fucking genius. I can't do that math. Then they did some fixes, fighter rigs not displaying, all that other stuff. Cosmic anomaly names sometimes being displayed inaccurately. I do find it funny every once in a while if I'm mining or if I'm ratting. All of a sudden, I'm either gathering crocite for some reason while I'm ratting, or I'm actually mining, and then I miss a Serpentis whatever for 0 DPS. Like, what the fuck? So maybe that'll stop happening. I don't know. I don't get it. All right, that's it on
how
that
they
note.
do. Fix some stuff, break some stuff. I mean, if they're making these fixes, maybe they'll break drones at the same time. You never know.
You never know. You never know. Okay, so Linwood, you asked, are they going to have caps seated at each ITC on this? Okay, so here's how this thing's going to work as far as the test server is going to go. Okay, because this is what they've done in times past. It's not like Fulmination server. The test server is literally going to be a snapshot of some day in time this week, and at that exact day in time, it's an exact duplicate of the entire universe, everybody's tunes at exactly where they were with skilling, all of their money, all of their hangar, whatever's in their hangars all over the place. It's an exact snapshot at that moment in time. It's like making a copy and paste of the server from one server to another. And so when you log in, it'll be whatever that snapshot was. So if you've got a carrier and you log in, you'll have a carrier at the same place it was. If you need a carrier, then you can just go to JITA or wherever and just buy one on the market, because they'll all be there. And you'll have either infinite amounts of money or they'll be worth nothing, or I don't know. Sometimes they change that up a little bit how they do that. But what they've done in the past on the test server has always been a snapshot of your inventory. That's how that works. So that'll be fun. Get to screw around with stuff.
I am hoping that they'll increase where stuff is for sale. You know, put 100 billion of every item at every station or every ITC or something like that. I can't remember which it was, but there were definitely modules last time that I was on test server that people went and just bought all of them immediately for 1 ISK apiece. Couldn't test them.
Nice.
Trolls out there for sure.
Oh, I'm seeing the snapshots now. I'm looking over here real quick before we jump into some other stuff. Those are pretty. I do like those. I do like those Geddon snapshots. Those are. Oh, Sweet is on Android. Nice. So very good. Yeah, and get ready for faction frigates to be a thing again, whereas they haven't really been that much lately. They're about to be a huge thing again. We'll get into that too. Do we want to do our ads real quick before we go into the war news and then go into the balance update? What do you think, Roslyn?
Yeah, I'm thinking you've got some great ads lined up. These are always a pleasure. If anybody here missed the Terran Federation at the beginning, oh man.
I'll play it again at the end. It's really good. Not at the end of this segment. At the end of the show, we'll play it again for anybody who missed it.
Yeah.
So we'll go through our regular ads. Here we go.
Hello, I'm Damon Zell, your trusty hot news guy. Auxilus is a bot whose KML parsing you can trust as much as me. With the ability to support every language NetEase does, and a 99.91% rate of parsing ship value for English kill mails, you can be assured that your kill is being counted. You can also pay PM Blue to set up a global bounties through his new system on any corp list or location list. Find more info at auxilus.xyz.
Good morning, good evening, and good night, everyone. Welcome to Fireside.
Are you tired of ticks so small she say you ain't got no tick at all? Then what you need is to come on down and join the Council of Ricks today. We got everything. T10 anomalies, T10 rallies. We even got T10 mining. You wanna kill some motherfuckers? Come on down, we killing motherfuckers all the time.
Achieved YouTube, for people who want to achieve more. I am a gamer and I'm a father of 4. My channel involves jokes, tips and tricks, podcasts and stories, as well as trying to give you that couch gaming feeling we all had back in the days, you know, before internet. So if you want to improve your gameplay or way of playing your games today, I'm right here, and my community Discord are created to involve everyone to take part in enjoying a healthy gaming life. After I became a father, I lost touch with pretty much all my gaming friends, and playing on mobile as well as the computer sometimes, I still felt alone. I didn't really have anyone to talk to or share my gaming progress with. This channel is my way of making sure that if you are in the same situation I was, you can simply join us and experience it all anew. Subscribe and join now. Let us be your couch gaming friends on Achieved YouTube.
All right, I love these ads. These ads are fantastic. We need to get more of these ads in. So if your corporation is listening to this right now and says, hey, damn, I want one of these ads on there, then you go make an ad and you talk about killing motherfuckers all the time. And bring it on and we'll play it. It'll be good. So, Rosalind, where's Blap's ad? Oh, we did have a Blap ad here a while back. I got to put that in rotation.
Oh, but it was terrible.
It was. It was horrible. It was so bad.
Really bad.
Yep. Come kill Blap. That's basically what the ad was. That's it.
Oh, I'm not an audio engineer. I just pushed the Windows audio recorder. I actually have a speak and say where you pull the string on the clock looking thing and it spins around. The cow says, "Join Black."
That's for the space cows. That one's for the space cows.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. The cow says moo.
I'm gonna have to get a soundbite of that.
You
the
are.
Cow says CTA.
Yeah, the pig says for hogs, of course. You know. That's one of the things I just love about this community. We have so many freaking characters. You know, we've got so many different creative people in part of this community, not just the content creators, but just the people that play the game in general, and the variety of names people use for their characters, the Citadels. And yes, there is a Citadel in the game called the Citadel of Ricks, and we don't currently own it. So one of these days we will again. I'll just leave it at that.
This is justification for like a world war.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Only it won't be much of a war with where it's at. But anyway. Okay. So let's talk about wars. Obviously, with Terran Federation back and with where they dropped, that's going to cause all kinds of friction, and it already has down there in GenFed space. While I don't have anything concrete from, yep, that's right, Hawkeye, Mercury rising. Anyway, well, I don't have anything concrete from Terran about any of the GenFed stuff that's going on. There is no official war declaration between the Terran Federation and GenFed. There is another war going on that started up and got really hot really fast this week. And it all happened when, and you can listen to a good breakdown of this that PM Blue did, where he got information from both sides, from GenFed, Ret C. So he does a good breakdown. So you should go listen to PM Blue's war report, Oxalis, over on YouTube. It's a good job. So, TF is red, last I knew, from Damon Zell for GenFed. Yeah, I figured as much. Anyway. So what happened is Ret C was involved in some sort of roam or whatever with a bunch of people, and there was only like 2 or 3 Ret Cs in the fleet. They shot a GenFed pause, I guess, somewhere, and instantly Mama said, "Oh, Ret C's declared war on GenFed structure warfare, so let's go kill them." So that's what GenFed decided to do. They decided to fleet up and go take on Ret C, all of GenFed. Massive fleet. Yeah, go for it, Linwood. And then as soon as that happened, No and Silent said, "Yeah, let's not do that," and decided to go in and try to defend Ret C. And that's when Mamasaurus Rex said, "Whoa, no, we're not really going to structure war with Ret C. We're not doing that." And too late. You've got an entire coalition now from the north that was fighting GenFed. And it started with just, yeah, we can go shoot their pauses. And then it was, no, just full-on structure. So That's what it turned into really fast. And we started seeing coalition fleet roams that started this week. And it's a large coalition. I'm not even going to go into how many people are involved into it. That's, whatever. You can figure that out when you get into fleets and you fight them. But it's more than just No and Silent and our good friends Honk. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And if you look at what GenFed is right now, they are bloated. It's a huge. It's what, 10,000 plus pilots. I mean, it's the start of another blue donut, which, as we all know, is something that No specifically says they do not want to see. So, Linwood, are you saying you want me to read these on air or post these? What are you wanting me to do with these? He's texting me stuff right now. And
that sounds like a very Linwood thing to do.
Either or. Okay.
This is going to be a very interesting turn of events this last week and a half or so as things get shifted around. I find myself in the middle of a diplomatic space, if you will, that I've never been in before, and I don't know how comfortable I am with it. Last time I was part of a 30,000 person coalition, it fell apart. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Man, there's a lot. He keeps texting me. Show them the truth, brother. I believe in you. It starts. Yeah, I'll just take all of these and post them. So give me a second to do that here while we're talking. But that's basically how this whole thing started, and it's an entire. It's a lot. It's a lot. So let's see if I can. I'm just gonna go through and see if I can copy and paste them real quick. This might take me a second, guys. I apologize. Here's the first one. Nope, that's not going to do it. See if I can do this faster this way. Yeah. It's an entire conversation, and then Linwood got blocked. So, go figure.
That is kind of how it goes.
That is how it goes.
On my Alliance server, we've just tagged him with "Shut up, Linwood" as his corp tag.
Over on ours, the Alliance executor for carebears is Maldives, and so on the server, everybody always changes his tag to "Kick Maldives." So no one wants to hear from Maldives. Anyway, okay. I think I have them all picked up, and now I can just go through and copy and paste maybe on air here. I'm doing. Sorry, guys. Yep, here we go. There's number 1. Here is number 2. And just be forewarned, guys, if you send me stuff like this, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to post them into a public chat for everybody to read, and then I'm going to talk about it live on the air, which isn't exciting sometimes. I apologize. But it is what it is. This is how you get the information out. I think it's important, too, from a standpoint of people need to know how, let's be transparent. What are your intentions? What are you trying to do? If you're really trying to bully someone into joining your alliance, then do it. If you're not, then prove that you're not, or say that you're not, and then back up those actions. Do what you say you're going to do, and it'll all be fine. Oh boy.
and however it goes, I think World War III is fine. What's this game without plenty of wars to fight?
Yeah, there's always got to be something, and conflicts drive wars, tensions drive wars. There's got to be something to fight over, and sometimes it's just personalities and people's individual thoughts that's got to be talked about. So yeah, there it is. Everything's posted. You can see what Momosaurus Rex was saying to Linwood, and how all that went down. Like it or not, there is now 2 coalitions in the game, Genesis Federation being one in the south, and then the No Silent Honk, Red Machine. There's a big list there of people who have said, yeah, I know, they're all in our coalition server that's been created to do fleets. And those fleets have been going nonstop. In the first day, 6 carriers were killed just within half that day's fleet activity. So it was fast. It was very fast and furious. And I don't know how that's going to stop. I really don't. I think it's going to stop when there's a breakup, kind of like there was with Panth. So I did see someone screenshot the other day. Sun Banana got back on and then posted in local, "Where my alliance go?" I have no idea if that was real, made up, or what, but I thought it was hilarious.
That's fantastic.
That was pretty good. So,
I did see a Sun Banana up in Ned. I think it was this morning.
yeah, there he goes. Sasha just posted it. That's great. I know he left the game at one point because he was sick and ill, so that part's not funny, but everything else is, so we can laugh at it. Yeah, I don't know where this is going to go. I think it's going to be very interesting to see, especially with balance patch, things changing. There's just so many things going on in the game right now. It's a good time to be a pilot in Eve, in New Eden. I'm excited all the way around for it. Capitals are just all over the frickin' place, both being killed and doing the killing. I think people are getting more comfortable with it. So, yeah, the whole meta is going to shift massively in the next 4 weeks. So,
I'm hoping all this is going to drive the prices of minerals up through many big ship deaths.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm hoping Maddie isn't going to be the top of the most expensive kill we ever see. You know.
Oh, he is right now.
He is for now. I'm hoping that'll change. I'm hoping we'll break 150.
150 billion cap kill.
Woo! It could happen. Yeah. Let's see it.
Stick
Get out
some
there and smash some caps.
Compression will be a thing again, so maybe some compressed Plague class will be in there, and that'll do it. I don't know.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
oh boy.
Yeah. We'll see. Okay. Anybody have any questions about the war stuff going on? It's definitely drama, which is the one thing I always try to avoid, but it is what it is. So if you got any questions, I'll answer those right now, and then we're going to go right into the balance patch.
The balance patch is going to be exciting.
Yep. Definitely.
We'll see. Maybe my Mauler 2 Guardian will actually have a use.
Yes, Silent's official policy at the start of this was defensive deployment for Ret C, which instantly escalated. I'll just put it that way. So, yep, that was the start of it.
Yeah, this is all, I think, this is probably one of the most confusing wars I've ever found myself in the middle of. I mean, Ret C is well, my sister corps. Not in the Alliance, but it's our cousin corps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're like kissing cousins. And we're like, okay, let's go defend. I'm being called on for a CTA to go 40 jumps in the other direction. Oh boy.
Yeah. And so yes, No and Silent are blue to one another again. And what's funny about that is when I told my guys that the other day at the start of all of this, they were like, "Oh, you mean the guys that were just roaming us the other day and shot down a Vindy and a Mac?" Yes, those guys. So anybody that thinks that there's like this, even though we're not blue, there's this silent partnership between Silent and No is very vastly mistaken. The way that this plays out with the relationship between the two is if we're both needed to do something, then we go and do it together. And when we're not, and we will fight each other, and we do regularly. So that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. Oh, Damon Zell's here. He's late, but he's here. Welcome, Damon. Hopefully you're drinking again. I'm kidding. Oh, just woke up. Okay, so you're not drinking yet.
Splash some Jameson in that coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, get caught up, buddy.
I mean, it is true, Atticus. It is nice to see a little Eve Echoes drama because it does make it's interesting. I mean, we're talking about it, right? We're spending an awful lot of time talking about it, so it is interesting. But drama for the sake of drama, I don't like. In this case, though, it's I don't know what Blap's official stance is. Rosalind, you tell me.
Yeah, if anybody, it's probably an open secret. Ret C was part of Blap after the last Terran Federation war. And so, of course, they've been our best friends ever since.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, we'll see how that plays out. It'll be interesting. It does get a little confusing sometimes with some of these fleets when you're flying around and you're actually in a fleet with somebody and they're neutral. So that's interesting. That's happening.
So this is probably my least favorite part of big ad hoc coalitions is randomly getting some guy who's blue to you shooting you in the middle of your fleet because he doesn't know who he's supposed to shoot.
Yeah. And lately we've had some blues in the area that we were shooting anyway. Because why are you here? They don't respond. Nah, they're dead. So Damon just put it up a Diplo thing. It says, everyone, Terran Federation accepts responsibility for delivering the chaos upon the server. A lone crab just wanted to do his part. However, we are busy killing bugs to help out in this civilian squabble. And Beck says, it was all Ret C. And Crab News 6 just puts up the Terran Federation logo. There you go. So yeah, I don't think that there's anything between TF and Silent at this point. Friendly PvPers against one another at this point, because Terran Federations has got enough on their hands. That's with where they're at and what they're doing. So that's fine. They got to rebuild. They got to have some time. So
it wouldn't offend me if TF decides to get mixed up in the middle of all this. The return of the Terran Federation is just it's exciting.
Well, there's nothing.
Those are fun folks.
As Rambo often says, there's nothing like a good three-way.
Oh yeah.
He means a three-way fight, but whatever. I get the point.
I haven't seen a great three-way fight since maybe Syndicate. So if we can get some of those in Sob Space, that sounds fun.
No, it does sound fun. That does sound fun. And then all of a sudden, everybody's shooting the Citadel, including the owner.
Hey, I've been to some of those where you show up and I'm going, am I supposed to be shooting or not shooting?
Yeah, just start shooting.
Shoot it.
Yeah, and live stream the event. That's even better when you can do that. Okay, we're going to move right into the... let's talk about this real fast before I go into the balance patch. So, as you guys have known, if you've been listening to the show the past couple of weeks, we have been doing a Jeopardy game and getting a little bit better about it. For the second round, it was a little bit better than the first in terms of you could actually see it on YouTube, so that was great. And in those Jeopardy rounds, you can win money. For a 10-point question, that's actually 10 million. For a 50-point question, that's actually 50 million. And the winners, everybody would win some money on that, even if they didn't win the actual game itself. In our first round, Snacks, who I thought was here earlier, I don't know if I see him on the chat anymore, won that round. So he now goes on to our championship round. And then last week, Rosalind, you won that round. So you go on to our championship round as well. So next week, we're going to have round 3. So come on up to the show live. X up when the time comes for Jeopardy. We're going to take 3 contestants next week. We'll have the same prizes where it's basically $1 billion ISK that's going to be passed out, win or lose. You'll earn some of that next week. You just got to answer at least one question right. That's not so hard. If you've listened to some of my questions, they're actually not that hard, even though some of them are trick questions, but I do my best. Now let's talk about the championship round, which is round 4. If you make it to that final round and you face off against Rosalind and you face off against Snacks, here is what you will win. Okay? There's going to be 4. Obviously, you'll win the money, just like we've done before, but you will also have daily doubles. And in this case, we're going to have 4 daily doubles in the championship round. Each daily double will be double points. So obviously that's, if it's 10 million and it's a daily double, that's 20 million. As well as a ship. It could be a Providence, the freighter, not the area. They're worth about the same. It could be a Balgorn. It could be a Macarial.
Oh man.
And it could be an Armageddon. I think those are the 4 ships. Providence, Macarial, Balgorn, Armageddon. Those are your 4 ships that you could win in that round. And I might throw in a bottle of Quaif somewhere. We'll see. just to fuck with people. So we'll see. But it gets even better. That's not all. You have the chance of winning one of all 4 of those ships. Or if you win the whole damn thing, guess what you get?
What do we get?
A dreadnought.
Hang on, I gotta mute my mic for a second. You said a what?
A dreadnought. I'm not
Good
going to say
lordy
which
lord.
dreadnought it is, but dreadnought obviously is a Naglfar or a Revelation or a Phoenix, the worst one out of all of them, or what's the fourth one? The Moros. One of 4 dreadnoughts is your grand prize. But wait, there's more. Yeah. And that all comes from Kronos, who is talking right now in Alliance chat. Those are all ships coming from him. All the funds that we have for these Jeopardy shows, and of course the ships that are going to be going up in that final round, all come from Kronos. So thank you very much. You are a true hero and patriot, and we appreciate your support of Echoes of New Eden to make that possible. That's going to be a gigantic championship round. I can't wait to get into that. That's going to be great. So
That's fantastic, Cronus. Thank you so much for sponsoring the event here.
Yep, it's good stuff. So Rosalind, can you fly a dread?
I will be able to fly a dread. Yes, I will do that.
Oh, I love this. Want to sell Captain Binzy replica hat, 500 billion plus shipping. That's amazing. I love it. Where's my ahoy there? I had an ahoy there followed by a really loud "fuck you." I need to get that clip on here. That's perfect. Good timing for that. Thanks, Sancha. You're making me laugh. Okay. So that's the big announcement on the Jeopardy game. Make sure you're here next week for round 3 because that's your last chance to get in for the final round. And, of course, make sure you're here for the championship round, which is going to be huge. I'm going to hype that over the next 2 weeks. Rambo's going to hype that over the next 2 weeks. You should be back for next week's show. You better be back for next week's show. And we will go from there. Yeah, it's going to be huge. It's going to be very huge, very large, like what's in my pants. Okay.
Believe me.
Believe me. Bigger than China, okay?
China?
All right. And Snacks will be stoned, so he's going to win. That's what that means.
We're building a wall, and we're going to make GenFed pay for it.
I love it. I love it. That's good. All right. Let's get into these gigantic notes. Balance adjustments instructions. I'm not going to go through this. I'm not going to read it like some guys have been doing. I think at this point everybody has read these all the way through and talked about them ad nauseum over the last week. You've probably listened to Binzy go on about it for an hour. You probably even saw, I liked what Big Skillet did. He kind of broke down his 5 things he loved about it, and some of his takeaways that he didn't like about it. So let's first talk about the adjustments of modules, rigs, what it's going to drop where, Inquisitors, Scouts, Dead Spaces, that kind of thing. They are adjusting some of that, and what I love about this is they're adjusting it to actually be based on the ships that are actually flying, those faction ships that are actually using those modules. Lasers would drop where lasers are supposed to drop. Auxiliary rigs would drop where you would think they would drop in Angel Space, which means I lose them, but whatever. It makes more sense, right?
It's rough, but it makes sense.
It is rough, but it does make sense. So if you don't have that breakdown, I know I have that somewhere. I have a breakdown of it that I can probably post that shows. It was posted on Reddit. Does anybody have that where they had the whole breakdown of what was going to get changed?
Oh, is this the one it's got the left side and right side, left old, right new?
Yeah, yeah.
Reach the. I've got that one sitting around here somewhere. It's informative, but I feel like for me, I don't pay attention too much to the prices of these. I'm looking at this and I'm going, what am I taking away? This is a whole lot of data here. I definitely don't care about that last line about where the hull rigs are going to drop.
Yeah, yeah. The Inquisitor and Relics are trying to make those a little bit better. That's good. I just posted that breakdown. I'll pull that up again real quick. So, if you were getting dynamic fuel valve in Sancha and Serpentis Space before, Serpentis Space isn't going to get it anymore, but Sancha still does, because that's what the ships use. Sancha ships use dynamic fuel valve, and apparently Serpentis doesn't. I don't know. I didn't quite notice that before, but sure. But there's a couple of, if you look at the overall breakdown, it's fairly balanced, but there's a couple of really glaring problems here, like drones. Blueprints for drones only fall in Garista Space now, nowhere else. I wouldn't call
get
that a
in the market
balance, would
cornered.
you?
You know, maybe this is intentional to make Euristus space something worth roaming through and looking for Inquisitors to go steal, or maybe this is intended for the residents of Euristus space to just sort of focus on what they have here.
I think my takeaway from this isn't so much that it's a balance. I think my takeaway from it is to A, make it a little bit more realistic, and B, do exactly what you just said. Give you a reason to go somewhere different, which we already had before, but it was way heavy one to the other. Now it's spread all over. If just glancing at the check marks there, it's spread all over the place. It's just gotten chopped up and pushed around.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. But it does for the very least. At least it does make you have to go to some different places. Give you something worth fighting over again. So we'll see. They want to make it more lore friendly, or loot friendly, right? I do enjoy going and looting other people's stuff, so that's fun. Okay, Inquisitors and Relics, we talked about that. They've got a lot of work there to do with the relic and data sites. They did put a third mid slot into the Explorers, which is going to make the data and relic sites great with Explorers, which is wonderful. I don't know why they couldn't do that before. As I mentioned earlier when we went over the patch notes from this week, they did make a change to one specific thing on a ship, so why couldn't they have done that before with the Explorers? I mean, that could have been done like within 2 weeks of the Explorers coming out. The ship is literally called an Explorer. So
if they're finally giving it to us,
Yeah.
I'll take it and decompose a rig drops, leaving Serpentis space. I'll take both of these things.
Yeah, I'll take it. It's fine. Let's see. Data sites. Okay. Capital cosmic anomalies. Capital ships are different from regular ships. Did you know that, Rosalind?
I do feel like carriers are just gigantic, slow, drone boats. They don't feel that special, but hey, they are big and impressive.
That's just like one of my favorite takeaway lines. Capital ships are different from regular ships. They are adjusting those as well. So it's not just a matter of affecting the anomalies and what they drop in the anomalies, but it's also affecting rallies and capital ships, capital ship specials. That's basically what they mean with that capital cosmic anomaly. Those two types. What drops there will be more akin to what those ships are using, which does make sense in some way, shape, or form. I want to see the capital anomalies, I don't know, maybe get a little bit, quote unquote, better. Or more, like, I don't know, there's got to be some sort of mechanic that makes them spawn, but I can't figure out what the hell it is. And it's like, I'll go a week sometimes without one spawning. And then all of a sudden I'll get one, I'll clear it, and another one will pop up in 30 minutes. I'll clear it, another one will pop up in 30 minutes. I'll clear it, and then I'll go a week without getting one. And yet nothing has changed. Like, it's just strange. So
it's one of those mysteries. I think there's a lot of urban legends out there, and I'm fine with that, just try to figure out how this works, just like back when people were trying to guess about into messant belts and then somebody figured it out.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a mystery here, and maybe it's just random,
We'll just leave it at random.
Yeah.
Then we've got
Bob.
Then we've got the big update to interceptors, and this is going to cause a little bit of conversation here. So I think everybody at this point agrees that the way that the interceptors are definitely overpowered. You can, if you use them correctly, 50 of them can just take a whole damn fleet out, and you can't stop them. And they can go right through your bubbles, which is fine. That's what they're for. But they're a little overpowered. They're faster than everything else. They're faster than faction frigates. They've got more DPS than some faction frigates. It's a little bit of they're a little overdone, and it's about damn time that they've nerfed these a little bit. So essentially what they're going to do is they're going to take the velocity down for interceptors, and they're going to take the DPS down. They don't give us any more details than that. Frankly, I'd like to see them just drop a high slot. Make it 2. What do you guys think? Think 2 high slots is too much? Do you think a drop in the DPS buff is enough? Because if they just go from a percentage buff of 6 to say 5 or something stupid like that, then they didn't really actually decrease their DPS. That's just insane.
I'm thinking any change that puts interceptors in the place where a destroyer assault presents a serious, credible threat to them, I think that's where it should eventually lean towards. You know, what that is, I mean, there's 1,000 ways to skin this cat. But they should, you know, interceptor pilots should know that when they see a certain class of ship on field, especially a rare ship like a destroyer, they should start to think twice rather than just going, "It's an interceptor. Eat this thing to tomorrow." You know,
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
mean,
I'm a Inti.
if you just look at the name, an interceptor, what is it for? It's for intercepting something, right? So going through a bubble is fine. That's a good trait for it to have. But being a fast tackle is what it's there for. A fast tackle, that's it. So its ability to put out more DPS than some faction frigates is insane. That doesn't make it a fast tackle anymore. That makes it a faction frigate. So yeah, I'm all for lowering the maybe take one gun away, make it 2, and make it more of a fast tackle. And I'm okay with them having nanocores to be able to long point somebody at 40 kilometers. I'm okay with that as well.
I mean, that's what the ship I think is supposed to feel like. Like deep down in my gut, it's supposed to tackle people, and that's maybe scout. You know, that's okay too. I don't think it's his primary role, right? But it shouldn't be there to kill everything and then moonwalk away.
Yeah. And on the destroyers, they need to make those faster. I don't remember if, reading in these patch notes where they specifically said destroyers were going to get faster. They do say interdiction destroyers are too strong at intercepting, which I just had to fucking laugh at. What in the hell? This is one of their biggest misses, is when they're talking about interdiction. And they're talking about taking the destroyer interdiction bubbles and making them not last as long, but maybe making them bigger. Well, what the fuck? That doesn't change a damn thing then, does it? That doesn't change anything. I don't think that changes anything.
That's a really weird, line to straddle. If they want to muck with destroyers at all, they're going to have to either, ask the audience, maybe ask the community what we think, rather than just doing it in a vacuum, or play test it, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we'll see. Maybe destroyer bubbles in their new fashion will be crazy, good or bad, some sort of crazy. We'll see.
I don't know. This is a good time, though, to bring up that there's a form over on the Eve Echoes Discord right next to where they posted these April balance patches, and it's called the Eve Echoes Balance Update Feedback Collection. I would encourage every pilot to go in here, I don't know if they'll allow you to do it more than once. I haven't filled it out yet because I want to wait until I actually play around with this before I do it. But I would encourage every pilot to go in here and give your honest feedback of it, and really lay it out as far as what you want to see changed with this. It's our time to put it to them. And if they respond and actually do listen to us a little bit and make some changes based off of this feedback, then, hey, we got something here. We got something at that point. So
yeah, let's give them something to go on, something to talk about. Other than the inevitable Linwood going in there and trash talking Jen to the developers, because that'll happen. But let's also give them balanced feedback.
Yeah, and Nathan Explosion does have a good point. Just lower the DPS number, leave the guns. They taking speed away too, so we will see how much easier they are to kill. This is the thing about balance patches in this game that makes absolutely zero sense. Let's wait an entire year and make one big old patch, see how everybody thinks about it for a whole nother year, and then make another patch. They got to quit that. This needs to be very incremental, little steps, one at a time. Do a little something here, see what it looks like over the course of a month or two, and then do something else if you need to, or leave it alone and go to the next thing. I understand them not wanting to change everything at once, which is what they're about ready to do. So whatever. It's what? They say one thing and then do another. I don't know.
So this came up just recently in my alliance, which I think it was this morning. Somebody was saying, when are we going to start feeling like we're out of the beta for this game? Feel like this game is actually
out of
fully
the beta.
fleshed. And I know that's been the joke for a long time, but now they're getting to another balance update. Maybe they're going to start doing regular balance stuff. like, EVE Online has, like every other MMO out there has, rather than just big, huge chunk changes where your beta version 0.2, 0.3, and instead just be they don't even need to make a big hullabaloo about balance. They just quietly rebalance stuff like every other game does.
Yep, yep.
That would feel like a mature game.
Yep, I would agree. It's like it's a scientific method, right? You go through it step-by-step process. You make a little change, you observe what that change does, you look at the results, you make a change again based off of the results you just achieved, and you just one little thing at a time. I think it would make everybody a lot happier than this. We don't know what's going on, when it's going to happen, how they're going to do this, and then when they do it, we know we're stuck with it for forever.
Year.
So, but they're also doing the same thing with the cruiser interdiction spheres, where they're going to make those. I don't know what they're doing there. Increased fuel cost, I guess, is what they were saying. Those are going to be larger bubbles as well, making them easier to operate. Is what they. I don't know. They're not hard. You hit a button. What the fuck? So I don't know. I think that they were really going to do something with assault destroyers are still the strongest nemesis of interceptor frigates. Are they smoking crack? That was the second line in this whole thing. That's just insane. I mean, you got to be kidding me. They don't play the game, obviously. So who uses an assault destroyer? Who uses a tower assault and kills a Condor 2 interceptor, or a Condor interceptor for that matter?
I've got my Corax assault, not the 2, but the 1. And I hard spec'd my indie character because, done with mining, done with reprocessing. I said, what else am I going to do? I hard went into the Corax 2 or the Corax 1 assault and really just haven't found a niche for it.
Yeah.
It's just meh.
Bradrick makes a good point. I mean, what ships in the game have 2 high slots and we actually actively use them? They're called destroy. They're called interdiction destroyers. They only have 2 high slots, but I get it. All right, next big thing. So I don't know how that's going to change. So obviously with the Scepters, I think they're going to become more of a tackle ship as opposed to a DPS ship. That's great. We'll probably stop seeing Scepters coming into mining belts. Just 1 scepter or 2 scepters even coming in trying to take out barges because they just won't be able to do it. Hopefully they don't have the DPS. And, they won't be able to do it anymore. We'll see. They'll be slower, so that means... I don't know if that... When they say they'll be slower, does that mean that their warp and alignment time is going to get slower, or does that mean their overall speed? I think it's just their velocity that they're nerfing, because they're nerfing the velocity of everything in this game, which also makes 0 sense, because all you've done there is made everything slower, which means I'll just start using Oxrigs 3s instead of 2s and go faster again.
Drive the price up.
Yeah, I mean... I don't know. Did we really think that the speed was getting out of hand of massive fleets? I don't know. I don't think the speed was getting out of hand in PvP either, but whatever.
I've seen some doctrines like to push for more speed, more speed, more speed.
Yeah, yeah.
And
you do it at the cost of being able to turn, so then that just totally screws you. But yeah, no, and there's only so far you can push that, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Everything gets slower, then there's just more DPS on target. Getting to the next thing. So shield fields. So I really like what they're doing here. It's a very different thought. I hadn't really thought of this before. But changing the shield field resistances a little bit, making it to where that Guardian is now moving a little slower, as well as anything that's inside of the shield field is moving a little slower, and that Guardian can't warp away. No warping while the bubble is up, which, thank you, that helps. I don't have to have an interdiction bubble up around me all the time either. So just in case I get a disconnect in a fleet, right? So I kind of like that. I know a lot of people probably won't, but I do kind of like that. So if you're moving, and it does probably make that bubble easier to hit with a dread. So that's a kind of a running joke that dreads can't hit anything, but true story, they can, as I've tested. But and shield fields are breakable, guys. It doesn't take drones to break them either. I got news for you. So, and it doesn't take dreads to break them either. So they are breakable.
There's definitely options out there. I think this change with shield field, hopefully it's going to just be a little bit more added so that shield field is not the singularly most important module that a fleet fight
Yeah.
has in their inventory.
Yeah. I mean, when I look over all of these things, and everybody talks about changes, and the meta is going to shift, and it is. It's going to make some major changes. Major changes from the standpoint of having a lot of work to do to go through and get to the next meta. But overall, at the end of the day, from what I'm reading from all of this, there's only a couple major changes to the meta. In large fleet battles, drones are probably going to go away. Fighters will still be there because you'll have carriers, but they won't have huge numbers. But I think drones will go away simply because of this pulse bomb update that's later on in this balance patch as well. But I think the speed is still going to be pushed as much as possible. And I think the shield fields are still, even with this nerfing, is still going to be pushed as much as possible, because none of this in here addresses the armor link issues, really. Not enough to make you all of a sudden flip to armor. I've heard a lot of people talk about wanting to flip to armor. Armor's going to be great again. And now we're going to be using... No, you're not. You're not, simply because the one thing that really stops armor from being great, well, there's two things, really. But the first thing is if you're going to have an armor link, it's got to be in the squad, and it only affects the squad. So now you've got to have one in every single squad. Well, that's 5 of them. You just lost an awful lot of DPS in a full fleet. So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is if everything else that's being hit inside of that squad is getting primaried, even if that ship isn't, that's a shit ton of DPS that's now coming into the one ship that's providing the resistances to everything else with that armor link, and it's going to pop. So you don't even have to target the fucking thing. So
that's going to make it a scary prospect to fly that ship. If it turns into this gigantic target where suddenly they're hit, kind of like how shield field guardians get hit. And if they're getting hit that hard, oof, you're off the battlefield. But we've seen it work with battlecruiser guardians, right? So,
yeah.
You know.
Armor's great for small squads. You know, you got 10, 15 guys, 20 guys going to go out in a small little realm. Armor can work great in those kinds of setups, and I'm all for that. I've done a little playing around with that. We've done a few roams with it, testing it out. It's good. It's good. It's not easy. It's tricky, but it's good. But at the end of the day, I still like the old shield field better, and I think it's probably going to remain that way too. And I think what we're going to see is just a little bit of slowing of fleets, increased amounts of DPS on target, and the need for more logi. Because what do you do if your resistances on your shield field change? Well, you just add a few more logi in there. And then what do you do to try to counter that? Newts, brawling, getting into the bubble, literally just running into somebody. Well, what do you do to run into them? Well, you have more speed. So here we are again, right? We go right back to the old conundrum. I said this before, what was true of this game when it first launched, as far as your tactical advantage in PvP? What was true day one? Speed. We always used to speed tank because all we had was frigates. And then as soon as we got destroyers, we tried to do that forever, and then gave up. And then went to cruisers once we got to that tech level, and everything was up for cruisers, right? So it was speed in the beginning. It's speed last year. It's speed right now, and it'll still be speed when this balance patch is over, because the physics of the game haven't changed, whether that's transversal, trying to serpentine somebody, getting outside of range of webs. All those things haven't changed. So, yes, and the answer to everything is always more logi. So,
more logi.
Yes, and also, by the way, don't put 7 heat sinks on your ship. That's very bad. That was also another keeper from this whole thing. I'm going to skip over the encounters stuff with high sec and all that. I have nothing to add to that other than what
I want to comment on this, actually.
Please do. If you want to comment on it, go ahead.
I love that there are these 3 lines where they're talking about capsuleers completed more than 61 encounters daily, 51 to 60, 41 to 50, using violation script. More than 99%. Wow.
Yeah.
That is a lot of people scripting and cranking out encounters. And I like this approach there. Sounds like what they're trying to do is, instead of trying to counter the scripting by detecting scripting better, right? Because that's just going to encourage better and more sophisticated scripts. They're just nipping it in the bud and saying, well, this activity you used to like to script to do, now you're not going to like to script to do. And that's kind of okay with me. So I actually come from a cyber background, and we look at the same thing. You can try to get better than the bad guy all day, and it just becomes an arms race. Or you can put your valuable goodies somewhere where they don't, or change the type of valuable goodies you have so that they don't want to come get them rather than hide them better. I like this. I'm sure they're still working on their anti-script stuff in the background, all their anti-scripting, anti-botting. But now they're just making it so it's, okay, you want to run a script, it's not actually going to be that valuable anymore.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good point.
That's going to be nice. I mean, a lot of people are bitching about this, but legit, I mean, 41 to 50 encounters, only 0.46% of players actually do this. So, I mean, how many people is that affecting? 1 out of 200? If 1 out of 200 people complain, meh.
Move on.
Move on. Speaking of moving on.
I don't really know, or maybe I don't understand. Someone can tell me, what is it about the high-sec islands and the mission running and basically the grind with no... I mean, I get it that there's no downside when you're in high-sec running a mission and you can't lose, you can't die, and you're just sitting there making ISK. How does that... Someone explain to me how that negatively affects the overall economy. Now, granted, if a couple thousand people are doing it and they're doing it every day, that's one thing. But I mean, what does that actually do to negatively impact the market? Because what I've noticed is as they've gotten better and better at getting rid of these bots, as they've gotten better and better at banning and picking up on script running, there's fewer and fewer banned accounts every week. We're now down in just the triple digits, a couple of hundred or so, whereas we were in the thousands and 20,000s at one point. During that time, as all of that's gone down and gotten to very small numbers, Plex just keeps going up. There's not enough Plex in the market. Maybe
this is the intention. I'm seeing the word inflation popping up here in chat a couple of times, right? And Trencia and Bradrick, and I think that's always been a thing that the EVE Online dev crew, right, CCP, has been, going hard in the paint to keep their economy under control. Because they know that if the economy runs away in one direction or the other, I mean, there's 1,000 directions it could run away. And if it does that, that game is done. It's toast. And that's kind of the same with us. I mean, the PvP is fun, but I can go play soccer if I really want to just PvP, and it's free. I mean, yeah, I'm fat and tubby, but I could. But I also like the fact that I can feel like a sense of accomplishment. I don't exactly know how this causes inflation, but it does.
I love this comment from Damon Zell. Oh, God, this is great. He says, he tagged me. He goes, because players are not allowed to have fun and find alternative ways to earn ISK. Damn it, if players want more ISK, they should buy R and convert to Plex. Yeah, that's pretty much it. TAC Devs 2022, yep.
That's the truth. I mean, they've got to look at every aspect of this game and see how they can monetize it. Maximize the monetization while minimizing how much we scream and kick a fit and don't pay.
Well, I mean, it's very easy. They could make more money by just attracting more players into this game and getting players to come back into this game. And the event that they did with their returnees and the returning players and that whole thing is just a total fucking waste. I don't think that's doing anybody any good. I don't quite understand that. So it is what it is.
Yeah, it's a miss on that one.
I do like what they did with the corporation tax rate thing. That makes total sense to me. So you can't have a corporation that's just run by bots pulling in all the money. So that part's fine. So okay, moving on. Restriction of daily encounters, combat commendations, corporate tax rates, others. Yeah. Oh, I do. Yeah, they brought up the whole Scorpion thing. And I guess this gets into the Scorpion and some of the Empire battleships and making some changes there. Things like the Typhoon adding a mid-slot, Apocalypse getting a power reduction consumption, Armageddon increased the number of low slots, enhance the scramble range. So Armageddon is now suddenly going to be pretty OP. They're making changes to large railguns. So now a Rook and a Vindicator is going to have better tracking. I don't know. I think this is one of the things that will probably change in the meta. There's a brawling fleet meta The Tempests are used, or just, you know, something that's up in your face, a large heavy tank and as much DPS as you can, up close and personal, as Benzie would say. And I think a Rook is probably going to, is a Rook, whatever, is probably going to wind up in someone's doctrine somewhere. I think that's going to be a fairly formidable ship.
I hope so.
And the Geddon already was before, but then again, it was for kiting. And I think kiting is done. I think that's the other major meta change that's going to happen. I think the heavy kite and the trying to kite somebody at range with drones is done because of this pulse bomb thing. Every battleship doctrine change will have at least in one of their high slots a pulse bomb. That's my speculation there.
I definitely hope we get to see more Rokes, Rocks, and Rooks out there on the battlefield in People's Doctrine. Those are beautiful ships.
Someone post a laser Scorpion. What? Scorpion 2 with pulses. Oh, that's great.
Hey,
well,
hey, don't laugh. I used to fly a Scorpion that's laser fit. It still has its laser rigs on it sitting in Ned.
Oh, God.
And I haven't touched it in like 6 months.
Oh, Lord. Well, I mean, anything's better than missiles. I'm very biased against missiles. So they take too long to get there. They're just slow. Their DPS gets applied but gets spread out. Whatever. I think the math part of it is complicated that makes me hate missiles.
I think they look cool. Meh.
They do look cool as they zigzag all over the places if they can't find a target.
Like if you zoom in on your bomber, and when it launches, the missiles go in every single direction, like something out of Gundam. Love it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, missiles have their place. Medium rapid missiles specifically, might go away as well. They were part of a doctrine, several doctrines all over New Eden. That'll probably go away as well because you won't necessarily need them for what they were there for, which is anti-drone, anti-frigate. Now, if your frigates don't have if your interceptors don't have the damage that they used to have before, and they're really just there for tackle, and they're going to wind up being all long-range tackle, 30, 40 kilometers, cord or not, then your medium rapids aren't going to be of much use in that case, and you're not going to need them against drones because no one's going to be flying drones, because that's what your pulse bombs are going to do, is take those out. So those are some of the other little changes too. I don't think medium rapids will stay a huge thing either. We'll see. Okay, go ahead.
Not go for it, man.
So the Blackbird and the Celestis, those aren't Empire battleships, but I liked how they put both of those into this same column. Sensor strength and some other attributes have been substituted, resulting in a marginal increase in their abilities. Now, one of my biggest complaints about this game is the lack of E-War. I mean, I know it's there. We have tracking disruptors. We have sensor dampeners. But they kind of suck. I mean, a tracking disruptor is actually okay, but I mean, a sensor dampener, you have to literally have somebody targeted before you can turn the fucking thing on. How stupid is that? They've already locked you by the time you turn it.
It's a fun idea, and I've gone out way back in the day before Pantheon fell apart with half a squad full of Celestis during CTA stuff, and our idea was to just give a big middle finger to, a single Hurricane Logi or something. And it just never turned out. Celestis it's a cool idea that they just didn't quite, not quite working.
They should change those sensor dampeners to where they're just on. You can just have them on, period. And they do need to change your targeting range. Instead of it just being 1,000 freaking kilometers, it needs to be way shorter than that. That would change things up quite a bit. That would be a huge balance patch change. It'd be a very easy thing for them to implement. Yeah, just targeting across the map. The bigger the ship, the longer the range. Smaller the ship, shorter the range. Sensor dampeners can be turned on and just left on. Just like you have a defense mode left on or whatever. Yeah, a full-on dampening field, something like that. Ooh, you could make one that's like a command burst. Yeah, I could just do it that way to where it's always on. It's in your mid slot. It's not really a sensor dampener, but it's some sort of E-War command module where that's all it's doing. It's tracking disruption. It's all of those things. Sensor dampening, all those. But you can only fit those on certain ships like a Celestis or a Blackbird. That would make both of those ships great again. Faction ships. Since we're nerfing the speed of interceptors and making interceptors more of what they're supposed to be for, which is long tackle and scouting and ability to get through bubbles, I also think another change that's going to happen in our quote-unquote metas or our doctrines is going to be the return of faction ships, faction frigates, which are now cheap enough in my mind to be a doctrine ship. Faction frigates don't cost anywhere near what they used to cost. It shouldn't be that difficult to slap one together and call that a doctrine ship. Now, maybe it's a Dremel because it's getting increased range. Maybe it's a Mordu's Legion ship, which is really expensive, but I doubt that. But I think the faction frigates are going to become, if you do it right, and you can, I think you can, make them more of what the interceptor is now. You just don't get the. Someone's posted a whole bunch of stuff. Cheap as fuck. Yeah, Dremel. See, I mean, it's cheap. It's totally cheap. So that would be your new replacement for what the interceptors are doing now when you have a 50-man fleet of Dremels. Think of what that would do. Sounds good to me. I'm ready for it. Let's do it. I want a whole bunch of worms that just have high slots that are, even though drones will be dead, so I guess maybe this won't work, but that would still be fun. I still got to do the baby kite thing where the two high slots are remote shield reppers and they're just repping each other. That'd be fun.
I'd love to actually be able to bring a crew ore to a fleet and not be told by the FC, go home, your ship dumb.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, talk about really sucking the life out of everything on grid. 10 crewers that are always there. That'd be great. Ooh. That's another way to get rid of your shield field module. You just dive bomb it and nude it.
Dive bomb it, nude it all to hell.
That's right. So
that'd be scary.
Good stuff. I mean, and there is a little bit of talk of the whole kitchen sink doctrine where there's all these different things now and all these different variations that the spread of what you have in your doctrine gets really crazy and spread out. And I think that's a mistake. Don't fall into that trap. If you're going to have something that's a doctrine, there's a lot of things that go into a doctrine, but the biggest things in my mind are simplicity, ease of use for your pilots, because you just have to assume your line pilots are stupid, and I say that as a line pilot, okay? But they're there, and they're also quasi there. Sometimes in your fleets, they're almost AFK. So it has to be something that's simple for them to use, affordable for them to get into, and those ships have to work together. It's one of those things where you can kind of overpower one ship in terms of what it's going to suck out of its own capacitor and power grid because all the ships combined have group caps, things like that. They necessarily wouldn't work by themselves, but they do work in tandem. And the more different ships with different fittings you have stretched out along that, the less likely they are to work in tandem. Just my thoughts. So,
for sure. I would also add to that, I think doctrine ships need to be not just approachable, but more obvious. I guess sometimes you get a Logi pilot who's never Logi before and he doesn't show up with his prop mod. He says, why would I need that? I'm not tackling anybody. And it's like, yeah. Sometimes your line pilots, they get told, fit out a Hurricane Logi like this, and they go, I don't think I like that medium micro warp on there. And they just yank it off. They don't know why it's there.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes that doesn't get explained very well to people either, why a doctrine is what a doctrine is. I think sometimes it just doesn't get explained. People just like, oh, they just want me in that ship. Why? Well, here's why. And I think I think it's every once in a while you need to take time for that.
I've seen questions where people say, hey, if an Armageddon is doctrine, can I bring my Dami? And it's like, well, it's not because they're drone, really. It's because of their mid slots. And they go, oh, okay, I'll put a nude on my Dami. Yeah, you're missing a point, Yeah.
Good one. Yeah, good one, Rambo. Yeah, the balance will change metas. New ones will be made. Old ones will fade, or some may stay same. I love you, buddy. Everything's going to change. It'll be the same. Maybe. I don't know. That was good. I like that. But he's also right.
Hopefully a little column A, a little column B. Hopefully we'll see lots of new cool stuff, and nothing will be so overwhelmingly powerful that it dominates the meta. I love coming up against a fleet and not knowing what to expect. I mean, right now, drones, it's just so boring to jump into, oh, look, 30 more prophecy commands. It's getting stale.
Yeah, I do like the I mean, I think that's one of your biggest things that you need to do in a game like this when it comes to a balance patch, and that is to actually balance things. It's to make sure that, yeah, everybody's going to go to one meta or one specific ship, but not to make it to where you literally can't go to a whole host of other ships, right? And that's what the word balance is there for, is to try to make the game more interesting, more of a leveling the playing field, while at the same time giving certain ships the ability to do some things that others can't, but not making it to where one is so damn overpowered, i.e. interceptors. Although, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that it's so difficult to get a hold of blueprints for Mordu's Legion and Sisters of Eve ships might be overpowered. Increased damage, increased hit points, increased analysis success rate, thank you, as well as all-purpose capacitor now on the Nestors is going to go up too. So I mean, they're kind of upping that Astero as a nice little quiet bomber. They're really upping its ability with the increased damage and HP. So I don't know, but if it wasn't for the fact that they're so expensive and hard to get a hold of, that kind of changes things. So,
well, if they're making them more popular, they're just going to drive the prices up.
Yeah, they are increasing the bonuses for the Chimera and Thanatos, probably because those aren't getting flown. Because everybody knows if you're going to fly the two best capital ships, it's a Nidhogger and a Naglfar, and that's the end of that discussion. I'm building a Phoenix for somebody right now, and I just shake my head as to why in the fuck is he gonna fly a Phoenix? I just, oh god,
because it looks cool.
Well, did you ever fly one of those when it was the capital ship thing was out, when you could fly one in the little war games thing? Did you ever fly one of those? I flew each of all of them.
Yeah,
that was the worst. By the time you went from one cruise missile firing to the next one, I went to the bathroom, took a shit, got a brand new cup of coffee brewed, came back to the game. Oh, the second missile has finally fired. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, the last time I shot a Capital Cruise missile, I think Obama was president.
Oh, God, that takes you back, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's too slow. It's too slow. And sure, it applies the damage and all that. That's great. It's a little bit of a good shield, tank to it, but other than that, it's horrible. And every capital has capacitor issues. They all do. Even carriers have capacitor issues, even though the fighters don't use any capacitor. So putting anything on a ship that's going to use up your capacitor for your guns, like, i.e., the Revelation with the lasers and the Moros with the railguns, is a little bit of a problem. Although I'll make exception that the Revelation is fucking cool looking, and a Moros is ugly as hell, but I love the damage output of rails. So, I don't know. At that point, they're both tanky. Fly what you want. But
well, if they're getting it balanced, if they're offering more different options that are viable, that's great. I mean, people aren't making really, I think, arbitrary choices with their capitals. It's not like me choosing an Omen Navy issue just because I like flying a loser ship.
And people aren't flying a Moros because they like the looks of it. So.
Oh God, that's got to be the ugliest space potato out there.
It's really close to the what is it? The Amicus covert ops. I mean, they both look like what's that? The Hunchback of Notre Dame type ships. I mean, they really do.
Moros got cancer. It's terrible.
Yeah, poor guys. Just put them out of their misery. Okay, then for non-combat ships, they're making some changes here. Covert Ops, they've added one mid-slot for explorers. We talked about that to increase the success rate of exploration. Good job. You should have done that a long time ago. Venture 4, increased mobility and mining capacity. So I don't know what that means about increased mobility. Obviously, with mining capacity, that means their ore hold is going to be larger. That's great. But if the increased mobility means that I can actually use those in those ore wells or compressed space, that would be good. I will take that. That means I'll probably probably pull out the Venture 4 more often, as opposed to just putting medium rapids on it and using it that way.
If I would love for them to release some data that shows how many of these Venture 4s are actually being used for what they're intended to be used for.
It's got to be
which
so
I
small.
think is blue wells.
No, it's got to be so small though. I mean, the number of
Yeah.
uses that it's got to be small. The cost of one of those versus a Venture 3, or just taking a retriever into the well. I mean, don't take a Coveter 2 in; they're too slow. Just take a retriever in, or even a Procure. Really, I think the best barge for the ore wells is a Procure in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
They're just
Yep.
tanky and they move a little faster. And maybe this is why they address the Coveters having increased mobility. Maybe they'll be able to move a little bit easier, and then you'll be able to use them all around. I don't know. Which, the whole Coveter 2 thing is so stupid. Make a Coveter a Tech 9 ship and a Coveter 2 a Tech 10 ship, and move on with life.
So I have no idea why they put them in the same tech level. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not even really that much more expensive for a Coveter 2. Don't waste your risk.
Yeah. Then transport ships, and they made some changes there, increased special cargo hold capacity, okay, whatever. But here's the real kicker. This is what's going to change people's gameplay a little bit. The Sigil 2 has got to be, and I only know this anecdotal, but the Sigil 2 has got to be the fastest hauler in the game. I almost outrun interceptors in their current state right now. I almost outrun them. I mean, it's crazy. I will start. An interceptor will start. We'll go 20 jumps, both of us at the exact same time, and I am only behind him by 4 seconds, 5 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane. And now, inside of a Sigil 2, you'll be able to hold not just the structure parts, but capital ship components as well in your structure hold for a Sigil 2. So, let's see. Yeah, so structure parts and capital ship components can now go in the structure hold. So that's nice because before, I forget what I was having to do with cap parts, but I don't think I was able to stick them in the. I know I wasn't able to
Stick them in a freighter. That's how everybody does it.
Yeah, God, the freighters, useless. That's another thing they need to do. The freighters really need to have high slots. They really need to have mid slots. They really need to have low slots. They need to just have some slots. I mean, other than just the damn rigs.
Mm.
So they need micro warp drives. They need shield. They need something. Do something to them. So
Some high slots. Put some small lasers in there and shoot off your interceptors.
Yep. Now they go. Let's see. We'll talk about what they're doing with large weapons. Railguns. Some of their statistics. I don't know why they're buffing railguns. I don't know why they're making them track better. I don't get that. On rifled rails will have increased tracking speed. Okay, that means they're going to apply more DPS. Same thing with pulse lasers. Increase damage. Beam lasers reduce the tracking speed because beam lasers just tracked so well already.
So well.
Yeah. So cruise missiles and torpedoes will have an increased flight velocity. I honestly don't. Out of all of those, I think the only thing there that's actually going to make any kind of change into the overall meta of the game, other than maybe who wants to rat with what just by personal choices, is the rifled railguns. Increased tracking speeds on the large rifled railguns. Like I said, I think a Rook might make a comeback into fleet doctrine somewhere. It would make sense to me, especially if you're going into more and more brawl fleets instead of kiting, and kiting becomes a no-no because drones. I see that being a possibility. And then they go in and talk about they say it in two places: increased tracking speed. Then they say increased tracking speed and damage.
Oh, this is the capital size.
This is the capital stuff. You're right. Yeah. So
yeah.
X large. I don't know why they just can't call that capital size. Come on, NetEase. So that gets increased speed and damage, which is great because every single one of these fittings tracking speed is shit. But I don't know. I'm of two minds. Do we really want them to have high angular weapons in this game for dreadnoughts?
I think it's okay to put the short range guns on here. I don't like the idea of a dreadnought picking any single subcap without having any friendly fleet backup and saying, I'm shooting you. I mean, these are supposed to be fleet support ships, really. Kind of like pulling a tank into a land war. It's not supposed to be something where you just blitz across the ground shoot everything with gigantic weapons. You're supposed to have smaller ship backup. High angular weapons, I think, is a little too much of that.
I mean, because if you do that, then it just makes everybody race to the next biggest thing. You kind of unbalance things that way. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, gonna have to have that rock, paper, scissors. I mean, the smallest ships, I think, used to be in EVE Online, the counter to the bigger ships, the biggest ships. So,
Right.
If they stick with that progression, that out of what's that old board game, Stratego, where the
Yep.
the best character in the game was beat by the scout or whatever.
The spy.
Right? The spy.
Yep, I love that game.
So we'll see. We'll see if they're making changes to these extra large weapons. I mean, it looks like the strike cannons down in damage. Does this mean Nidhoggers are going to be the or ranged Nidhoggers going to be the lowest damage dealing dreadnought? Maybe.
The Naglfar, yeah, with the strike cannons, yeah, because they reduce the damage. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they say they add more damage, or what is it? Deal more damage than they should. Well, according to who?
So, maybe they're just reading their statistics.
Who's putting a strike?
Everybody's
yeah, but I mean, who's putting fucking strike cannons on the Dread anyway? That just asking to die. It should be autocannons.
Yeah.
On the Naglfar, you should have autocannons, not strike cannons.
I've seen them used really effectively.
Yeah.
Sitting at really decent range and then just picking a ship out there saying, hey, you're outside of the bubble. Cuff flap, he's gone.
True. That's true. In those situations, yeah. I mean, there's a situation for everything. That's what's nice about the game, right? There's a situation for everything.
Right.
Then they're doing some changes to sniper mode. And maybe this will bring precision over damage. The DPS remains low. The precision is higher, the range is farther, but the DPS remains low. It still follows the principle precision over damage. Okay, they don't actually say what the hell they're changing there necessarily, but I get maybe that's what they're doing, is they're just making sniper mode be able to hit more with less damage. I don't know.
We'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
I'm excited to actually push the sniper mode on my Omen sniper once for the first time ever and see what it does.
I mean, maybe instead of having kite fleets with drones, we have kite fleets with sniper modes, or just being able to hit somebody at 150. Tornado 2s and Oracle 2s are decent ships, and both of those are getting nerfed a little. Well, I guess the Oracle 2 is, but the Tornado's not. The Oracle 2 is because large lasers are getting nerfed, so for their DPS. So maybe an Oracle 2 will be another thing that you see coming into the meta. And then, of course, we'll have to look at how to counter that, whether that's with more Logi on your shield field, more speed to go track them down and run them over, or just being able to tank them and not worry about their increased output. I don't know. So they talk about armor, shields, age-old problem, which one to use. We've already discussed that. I don't think any of these changes that they're making are going to necessarily mean that someone's going to suddenly switch their entire doctrine over to armor. I don't see it. I don't see that.
It's going to be up to real. It's going to have to still be, I think, a real specific use case to totally switch over your doctrine. If you find the way your fleet, your members like to fly happens to match this new armor thing, then sure. But I don't think it's going to be for everybody. I don't think we're going to see the biggest of the alliances out there making changes. Maybe for small groups that like to fly a certain way.
Maybe. Oh, Damon says you can't warp when you're in sniper or siege mode. I didn't think you could before, honestly. I thought you had to come out of those modes in order to warp, but okay. Fair enough. Then they go into this heat sink thing, 8 heat sinks. So they're nerfing all of that, where they make it harder for you to be putting in multiple modules. Did they necessarily come in here, though, and say that, and I think this only applies to people doing PvE, and probably those high-sec islands that they're trying to ban everybody from. I mean, is that really a good strategy in a PvP situation to have a glass cannon like that? Not really. I don't think so. I think that's just asking for death. So
maybe this changes a bit of the old tornado idea, the sniper tornadoes with the large micro warp drive. where they used to hit their tracking computers and get the extreme bonuses for one shot and one shot only. I like the idea of not relying on your fit to do one thing once and then your fit doesn't do what it does anymore. I like that this is having a passive more, active less. I kind of digging it.
Yeah, I kind of like that too. I mean, it's going to decrease your power consumption a little bit, and so maybe you can kind of play with how you balance these different modules out for what they're doing. I don't know. I think overall, all of these changes kind of go towards more DPS is being applied across the board, and you're going to have to tank more across the board. Whether you look at the velocity all being nerfed down, damages being buffed up. I mean, overall, that's the entirety of what this patch is doing. It's increasing the amount of DPS being put out. Maybe it's going to make our fleet battles faster. Maybe it won't. But
I mean, I don't mind an all-day CTA if I want to, but if I'm being forced into one just because it's, you know, 2 50-man fleets that are perfectly set up with giant bubbles and we sit and orbit each other for 3 hours. Oh, you know?
Yeah.
This is a mobile game. Yes, I could take it with me to the grocery store, but it's kind of weird when I'm giving fleet command orders while sitting at the bar. People are saying, "Excuse me, are you talking to me?"
Okay, so what do we think too about these armor plates, batteries, and shield extenders? I'm okay for them saying these are emergency modules because that's what they're originally designed for. I've never been a fan of trying to put 3 or 4 plates or 3 or 4 shield extenders on to try to make sure that I just rotate those, and that's all you're doing is hitting my increase instead of actually hitting my real plates or my real shields. I've never really been a fan of that. It works, but whatever. Like, especially on an abandon, all those pilots are going to have to change their setups at this point with the way this is being nerfed. But I really don't like the idea of, yes, a battery's there for an emergency, but I can't have 2 or 3 of them anymore to be able to overpower a large shield boost or something. I mean, I don't know. That one I kind of have 2 minds of. I get where they're going with it. I see how it's going to change things. I don't like the whole battery thing, especially when it comes down to cap batteries, as in capital batteries. That's a whole 9 yards difference, right?
Yeah, if they significantly change this and it messes with the caps, our cap pilots are going to scream. You know, if this changes the way this ship flies for them, that's a major drawback. Now, I do like the idea that it sounds like active repping is going to make a bit of a comeback, rather than just plate. Maybe we'll see some more myrmidons on the field, or what's that double repper? I think is it the Roke or is it the Hyperion that people like to double rep? I think it's a Hyperion, right? Well, whichever of those has the bonus to active repping, I'd like to see some more active rep ships actually get their time to shine.
Maelstrom, yeah.
The Maelstrom, yep.
Yeah, Maelstrom or Hyperion. But yeah, I was thinking the Maelstrom, but I wasn't sure. I made that joke about, you know, someone gave Rambo a free Maelstrom, and then I went and built and had our guys build 3 of them. We went and fitted all 3 of those, and then we moved them into staging areas, and I never got to fly any of them. So I still have yet to fly a damn Maelstrom. Anyway. I'm all lasers in game, which is a problem anymore. But anyway, so
you've got a laser problem.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I love the Nightmare, but you can't rat with the Nightmare. I love my carrier, but you can't necessarily always rat with a carrier. So what do I have that I can do to rat in right now? Nothing. I've got nothing. So I got to figure out that. And I don't necessarily want it to be an APOC striker. I just don't. I don't know. Something about that. Something about the APOCs I don't like. So I had an Abaddon, but I sold that in order to help pay for my carrier. So, yeah, whatever. So
most of the Abaddons were super popular when we first hit T10, and they were ooh, look, an Abaddon. Now it's like I give the same reaction, ooh, look, an Abaddon, because I don't see him anymore. It's so rare.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they're tanky. I had mine with 3 plates. That's the one. I did go and put 3 plates on that sucker because that's the only way to really do it and be able to tank. The active armor repair just wasn't enough, even though it was dual. You just couldn't. The cap wasn't enough and all that. So one thing that was absent in this whole thing is everybody's learned over the last week, except for one exception, is that there's no industry information in here about how things are going to change as far as that goes. That's because that's coming in May still. I think we've all learned that by now. That's good. But they did make a comment in here about ore compression. And they're doing this ahead of, this is very smart, netties. This is actually the one thing in here too that I think is very smart and not a lot of people are talking about. Mm-hmm. So the Rorqual comes out next month as part of the industry update. And all we know about the industry update so far is that that ship is coming, the Noctis is coming, the, what's the one that starts with the P?
The Porpoise. The
Porpoise is coming, yep. And this so-called tracking beam thing is supposed to be coming as part of that. Now, I remember hearing that a way back, and I haven't heard much more about it other than it was coming. But the thing we got now was going to come first, then the tractor beam thing was going to come next. And last I heard, it was coming as part of this industry update. And if you don't know, on the Rorqual, you can compress ore right on the ship. So as you're sitting in a mining field, and these are, from what I'm hearing from the devs, the Orca, which is also coming, is not going to have any actual mining capability at all. It's just a mining boost. It's a foreman, the foreman link or whatever they call it, is just going to be boosting the miners. It's going to be a hauler because it's going to have a huge ore hold, or huge hold anyway, to haul the ore on and off grid, in which case then you lose your boost, so that's weird. But it is not going to have the ability to put strip mining lasers on them. So the Rorqual, though, does, and that's where your capital mining lasers are going to be coming in. And these things will probably, in their capital ships, the Orca is not a capital ship, but the Rorqual is, and they're probably going to suck down these belts so damn fast and take up so much room. That's why you have ore compression right there on the ship, and that's why the ore compression is coming out now. Well, it's been out for a while, but they're increasing the effectiveness of the skill starting now. So I can't wait to get on this. That's one of the things I'm going to do on the server when we get on the test server this weekend, is see just how much less fuel it's taking to do ore compression. And so as a tip to everybody ahead of the test server, and don't do it even though you go into the test server and you see, okay, well, this is what they changed. I really like that. Now I'm going to hop back over to the game. I'm going to use all my Lazarus units, and I'm going to reskill everything right now. Don't do that. Because just because you're seeing it over on the test server does not mean it's going to be exactly that on the real server when they go to roll it out here later this month, especially if they actually listen to us and take into account some of these things we're saying and make a few tweaks. So all these extra Lazarus units or banking your SP and all of that, just hold off. That's my little pro tip here. Hold off on respecking until we know for sure what's going to land where, because it's going to change. I guarantee you something somewhere is going to change. Even from the standpoint of we don't have numbers on some of these buffs and nerfs yet. We don't have exact percentages yet. So, if it's a buff, it's going to be better. Okay, great. I'm going to skill into that. Well, it's a 1.5% buff. Whoop-de-frickin-do. That's not enough to mean anything. So... but I'm excited about compression. I'm excited about the industry changes that come too. And I think with the compression side of things, that should yet again shake up the ore market a little bit, to where now when we're starting to see this little bit of a pressure, prices going up because we're getting pressure on supply, now we'll have a little bit more free flow of materials around because you're having an easier time transporting them. That's my thoughts on that. And then, of course, we talk about the pulse bomb. Please ban drones from siege battles. So
what a statement.
This is pretty funny. I mean, you're having black screen problems. You're having connection issues on the client side when there's a lot of data on the field, because it's not just 100 ships with 5 drones each. It's 600 ships according to the math and how they have to position everything and run it. And I get that that's server load, and I get that their time dilation thing isn't working quite right because there's not someone physically there to watch it and flip a switch, which is retarded, but whatever. But I find it odd that their way to counter this is to blow the drones up. So, Yeah, they're not smart bombs. They're just pulse bombs. They're just pulses. I do like, though, that they're affecting drones and they're affecting fighters, that they have a radius to them. We don't know what the radius is yet, but they're not affecting frigates, and they're not affecting cruisers, and they're not affecting, they're only affecting drones, and they're only affecting fighters. So
I wonder if this is going to affect rally point fighters. Can you go in there and blap away all the fighters?
That'd be interesting. That would be interesting. I would think so. Why wouldn't they? But I don't know. And they don't really say. I love this. This is another one of their great lines. Large scale module specifically designed for the shield system of drones and fighters. As in, they're just there to strip the shields. What the fuck? I know that's not what they mean. I mean, if these things can only strip the shields, then they mean nothing, and we're right back to where we started. But I guarantee you they'll blow them up. You might just need a few, which is why your doctrine will change to where you've got a pulse bomb in one of your high slots for the large battleships.
This particular section of this entire update strikes me as the least professionally written. I think somebody is doing a poor job of translating something here, or perhaps writing it hastily. I suspect that of all the things they've mentioned, this is the least accurate of what they meant to say.
Yeah.
Because this whole thing just doesn't strike me as what they're intending to do. I mean, they're saying anti-drone. I don't think they really intend to just mess with drones. And then just the way they write it, saying things like several professional anti-drone ships will become the new stars in the battlefield. Okay. But it's just it's odd and clunky. I think we're going to see more than what this lets on. I think we're just, if we dig into this one like we dig into the rest of the paragraphs, I think we're going to be a little disappointed.
And one of their very last lines is, a huge number of drones could be tackled to a certain extent, and the fluency of the battle will be improved.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Okay, take it with a grain of salt. I think it's a little bit of English going on.
Stop smoking the pot when you type these patch notes up. What the? I mean, just for a minute. Snacks, just for a minute. Anyway, I don't know. And whatever their range is will also be very interesting, because you can always counter that. There are rigs and modules that make it to where your fighters and your drones are hitting their target at a longer distance than the 5 or 7 or 10 kilometers that they're already doing at right off the gate, right? Your skills improve that, your rigs improve that. Snacks like, nope, not stopping the keep smoking, Snacks. Keep mining. He's a mining fool. Anyway, okay. I mean, really, those are some of the major things. There's still a few other little things here at the bottom. There's a Lazarus unit giveaway. We all kind of know what's going on with that. If you have any questions about that, just put that in the chat. I'll answer them for you. But Lazarus units are what they are. It is a 1-to-1. So I happened to buy a little bit of R a couple days ago, and then when the Lazarus things came out, I did get an email yesterday, and I got 3 million Lazarus units. That does translate into 3 million skill points that I can just freely reskill into. So it is a 1-to-1 for the Lazarus units versus the skill reset, skill to skill. So all good there. I don't know how much. During the event and what they haven't said anything with that. So we'll see how much they give out. I don't need to really reskill anything else. I won't be able to fly anything if I do. And then the corporation management updates. This is hysterical. So this is the funniest part of the whole thing. When the corporation leader is offline for more than 21 days, corporation members can initiate a vote to change the CEO. So yes, there are dead corporations in this game, and you can just take them over. I think that's fantastic.
I mean, this can be a really useful thing for corps that maybe are very active but have just had something happen to their CEO.
Yeah.
Maybe they've suddenly gone off to college or something, didn't tell anybody. Maybe they've gone off to war. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I think it's helpful. I find this kind of funny. Like, how can we keep our guy from logging on? It's kind of funny.
Call his boss. Hey, he's been playing these video games and he should have been working.
I did tell the story of calling a guy at his work one day, getting his boss on the phone. That was pretty good. You go, what do you want? What are you doing? Well, your outpost is in fucking low power, dude. Get some fuel in it. That was great.
I've got a friend, I won't say his name live here, and if you guys in chat know it, please don't say it. But this guy sells coffee online, and I used to spam his coffee as we're flying around. Hey, go buy this coffee brand. And I name dropped him once, and he was like, please don't ever say it's related to me, because if somebody leaves a review, hey, so and so is leading a fleet gaming during working hours, blah blah blah. He's like, don't do it, don't dox me, bro.
Yeah. That's funny. I do find it interesting how many of us play this game while we're working.
My favorite is all the truckers out there. This goes out to you, Solmar and Netshade. All the truckers out there playing with 4 tablets velcroed to their dash while they're doing 85 mile an hour down the highway.
Yeah, Sleepy Gary doing the same thing.
Love it.
Yep.
It does give me a lot of new gray hairs in my beard every time I hear that close proximity warning going off in Solmar's truck. Beep, 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 beep.
That's funny. All right. So, I mean, that's the majority of the big balance update coming. I mean, a lot of stuff. Oh, look at that, Damon. Nice. I like that setup. Yep, those are big buttons to push. So I tell you what we'll do, since we've got can you play Eve on that? We're gonna unmute Bradrick and we're gonna unmute Damon Zell, see what kind of feedback they have. See if I can do it. Oh, I can. Look at that. I've just unmuted both of you.
Okay.
Anything you guys want to add to what's coming up? How it's going to change things? What you're going to do to change things with this balance patch? Or are you just waiting and seeing and excited for Saturday?
I am reserving all comments until after the test server because I got a feeling these numbers are going to shock everybody.
You think the numbers are going to be high or low? At least give me that.
It just like with interceptors, for instance, they said they changed DPS and flight velocity for the most part.
Yeah.
How they change DPS is what's going to matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I get the argument of not taking a high slot away and just lowering their DPS, but if you do that, is the DPS going to be lowered enough?
That thing.
Is it really going to change anything?
The way I did the math, I felt like getting rid of their bonuses for like the thing that people don't realize, or maybe they do, I don't know. But it's always been really striking to me that the DPS bonuses on interceptors is just insanity. They're just really, really high. And I think if you got rid of that, you would actually level it out. Because when you look at assault frigates, they have DPS bonuses too, but nowhere near what interceptors have. So
when you say level it, do you mean just take them out completely where they get no bonuses to DPS?
Right. Well, their bonuses should be tackle and speed.
Exactly. Exactly.
You can leave the slots as they are, and if you remove those bonuses and replace those bonuses with just tackle bonuses and maybe speed bonuses for the ships and stuff like that, make them utility ships that just do tackling and chasing. Why do they have 50% bonuses on their guns? That's unnecessary.
Yep. I'm behind that. I mean, that's really what they are, scouts and tackles. Just make them scouts and tackles. That's what they're for.
Yeah, they can still have weapons to defend themselves. I'm not saying
sure
do what they did to destroyers, because that made the interdiction destroyers, that made them way worse and unused because we changed the slots. See, if you leave the slots alone and you just get rid of those bonuses, they still got firepower. You can still get 50 scepters is still 50 scepters if they have 3 slots.
Sure.
You're not going to change that part. But that DPS that they have, it just strictly comes from their bonuses. Like if you go and do the math and you just take out the bonuses, they got regular DPS.
Yeah. I really wish they would have done more to the destroyers as well. I wish they would have really bumped up their DPS.
I know why they
have no plans on buffing destroyers right now. Dev even said so.
Yeah.
I know why they didn't, though. I know why they didn't, and I understand.
Because they're fun to fly.
No, they what they didn't want to do is sometimes when you have two things that are struggling with balance and you buff one and nerf another, you actually just double buffed one.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
see what I'm saying?
I do.
So
I get that. Yeah.
That's why they didn't do it. I can see a buff coming in the future after they figure out where interceptors kind of fall, where frigates kind of fall, how the current destroyers are dealing with interceptors now that they're nerfed.
And I guess we need to see what this actual speed thing is going to be. If a destroyer can actually keep up with an interceptor at this point, then maybe the destroyers are powerful enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you consider it, the interceptor's got a double speed nerf. One from the skills, one for the ship itself.
Yeah.
Right.
So no more 8,000 meters a second.
Well, what you'll have if you're not careful with balancing is you'll have a seesaw effect. You'll just keep having really bad metas. So what you want to kind of do is, okay, what's the meta right now? Okay, let's bring that down a notch. And I think that's what they did. They tackled the interceptor issues, or tried to. They attempted to make a change there. They made a change with Guardians. They made a change with drones. Those are big changes to actual fleet fighting PvP metas.
Speed and DPS, yep.
Yeah. So look, they got to get on the test server. And I encourage everybody, get on the test server when the test server opens. Get in fleet fights. Get in 1v1s. Just get in fights. Just give them data. Destroy a lot of ships during the test server being open. Just bang stuff up so they can look at those numbers, because I think that's going to help a lot in making the final decision on how things fall.
And then go fill out that form.
Yes, fill out the form.
Fill out the form.
But the nice thing is when we get the test server on the 9th, and we should be getting the full patch around the 13th. At least that's what they told us.
Oh,
on
really?
the 9th,
okay.
when the test server is only going to be up for a few days. It's not going to be like it was where it was up for a week before, and then the patch came 2 weeks after. They're telling us right up that the patch is going to be around the 13th.
Wow.
And the test server is up on the 9th. But at least on the 9th, we will have the numbers, percentage-wise, of exactly what changes are being done to the ships. Whereas they kind of just hinted, Dromulus are going to get a damage increase, this ship's going to get a damage increase. We'll have the numbers percentage-wise on that time, at that date.
Okay. Well, that's good. I didn't know that. That's awesome. I didn't think it was going to come that damn fast. So they're not going to have any time to implement any changes we want from any feedback we give them.
I see a question right here. It says, when do we get the rewards from Inscription? Listen, if you want to talk about waiting long, just ask Honk how long they had to wait for their medals. Or when the caps came out, ask the people how long they had to wait for their medals.
Yeah.
Their in-game medals. I think it was 4 months?
Long time. I'm waiting for that too, because I got something coming on that one as well.
We'll probably be on season 4. Not much done. We'll be on season 4 or 5 of the next Inscription before we get those awards.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it'll take a while, man. Then I'm waiting for it too, Snacks, because I'm right in there with you on that one. So I don't know what I got, but I got something coming on it. So that'll be cool.
Something to look forward to.
Something to look forward to. I just want my carrier nanocore. That's what I want. So.
Oh, they are coming. I did forget. That's going to be in this week's game news. The devs did say they are working more events. They are bringing capital nanocores back.
That's awesome.
Probably right around the patch time, or maybe just after the patch, the cap nanocores will be coming back.
Oh, that quick. So this month as well. Damn. This is a huge month, guys. I'm super excited. Yeah. I mean, there hasn't been nice Snacks. There hasn't. I don't know. When was the last time I was this excited about everything? Well, probably last year at the 1 year anniversary, and then with Capitals coming out. This is great. This is a great time, guys. I'm excited about it. So, anything else you guys want to cover? Any other questions we have for tonight? Balance patch, everything else. We got Bradrick. We got Damon Zell on. If you want to ask them a question, type in chat. They'll answer it in chat or right here. They're still unmuted, whatever. Rosalind, you got anything else you want to add, or are we about done to wrap it up? We're going on over 2 hours here. It's pretty good.
I mean, I think I wanna encompass kind of everything we've talked about tonight. Is invite your friends back, because there's so much fun stuff. Big changes coming, and get them to join TF. Is that what's going on here?
Yes. Do your part. Travel down to your local recruiting office and enlist today. We need soldiers.
Yeah, become a citizen.
Yes.
Yeah, Hans, that was April Fool's, buddy.
citizenship.
Yeah,
Oh
service.
yeah, the 1-to-1 buyback. If it sounded too good to be true, or too sensible, then you know it was not.
Yeah. Total April Fools. So, and Damon, we love you. Ignore the hate mail you're getting for joining Terran Federation.
Oh, I don't mind. I don't care that I left Terran shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been. You guys, even people inside Genesis, were even commenting after I left, like if you heard any of his videos, you knew how long he's been waiting for this to happen.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, with that, I guess we will end the show, and we're going to end it with this Terran Federation ad again, just as we started it, in case you came on late and didn't pick it up. We're going to play it again.
For Rambo's sake, how do you pronounce Tehran? Is it T-Rain or
T-Rain? T-Ron? T to the R to the Ran? Here it is, back by popular demand that no one asked for.
16 months ago, our beloved Federation was shattered. Not from the bug menace chittering throughout the stars of Fountain, but from ourselves. In that time when cooler heads should have prevailed, they instead fanned the flames of self-immolation, scattering our citizens to the most ambitious alliances in New Eden. And with their newfound strength, many of those alliances wielded our citizens, diamonds forged under the relentless pressure of the bug menace, to eradicate each other. And from this arose an underground network of stalwart citizens who once again yearned of the days of old. Events were put into motion, stages were set, and the whispers of the return of our glorious Federation were used to distract the brain bugs in Delve, while many of our former troopers spearheaded the assaults, burning their hives around them, until likewise, they collapsed from the same internal pressure that fermented amongst our commanders in Fountain. Today, troopers and citizens of our beloved Terran race, we return. This is an all-points bulletin to any and all troopers logged out, patiently waiting to engage the largest login trap in the history of New Eden. The time is now. Install the latest update, dust off your Vexler Navy issue, and join us as we sweep our ancestral home of latent nests, hives, and colonies. If the first Fountain Wars were considered the golden age of New Eden, then let this be our renaissance. Come on, apes! Do you want to live forever?
Do your part. Join a Terran Federation corporation today and become a citizen. Service guarantees citizenship.
It's just lovely. I love that. That's good. That's good stuff. Done very well. That's it for Echoes of New Eden for this week. Make sure you're back next week for our third round of Jeopardy! Massive money prizes, ISK being doled out for the third round. And if you make it through that one and win, you'll be playing in the championship round against Snacks and Rosalind himself. The winner of the championship round is going to win a Dreadnought. I repeat, a Dreadnought is going to be handed out to the winner of the final championship round of Jeopardy! And you can't get into it unless you win next week's show. So be here, X up in local when we get ready for it. And you, too, have a chance to win that Dreadnought. There'll be other ships in that final round as well. A Mercurial, a Balgorn, a Providence Freighter, and an Armageddon. All four of those will be won during the match of the championship round on top of that Dreadnought. Do not miss it. Tell everybody about it. Be here over the next 2 weeks. It's going to be a hell of a ride seeing who wins that, on top of all the other things going on in the next 2 weeks. War, patch, balance, all these cool things. So hell of a time to be flying, everybody. So fly dangerous, and we'll see you next week.